Hello, today we will discuss or we will start a series of Python for beginners, and this is lesson 1. And in first lesson we will discuss the installation and download of integrated development environment that you will need for programming in Python. And we will write a simple program saying hello world, a simple one. So you will learn how to write a program, save it, and then run it from Python integrated development environment. So let's move. First we will have to download and install the Python. So here we go. So very first thing that you should do is type the Python download, Python download, and from there you will see a lot of things. These are all promotions. First, but try to figure out the python.org, and here we come in. This is download python.org. So this is where we will download the Python. So let's go in here and let's go to downloads and choose the Python 3.11.1. Now click and download that, and let's meet in a few moments until when you are done. Okay, so I'm going to close this because I have already downloaded, so I'm not going to download it again. Now I hope you have your Python downloaded. So let's see in your download folder, how does it look like. This is my download folder. On this side you will have download, so click on that, and I have different things. So here is a download, so come into download folder and you will have your Python in here. Now when you click on it, it will give you features that what do you want to do. Since I already have it, so it's asking me, do you want to modify it? I don't have to, but you will see an install portion in there, so you go ahead and install that. Yes, I want to cancel, but you don't have to. Make sure you download and install the Python, and it will take a few minutes, so you might want to pause the video and then come back and resume kind of interaction with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and you come back, you stop the video and come back whenever you are ready. Now I assume that you are back and you have downloaded and installed the Python. So let's see how do we access that. For that we will call the, since I'm using Windows, I am kind of it will be a little different in your Mac and Linux environment, but this is how it will look like in Windows. So let's look for where is our Python IDLE. So how do we look for that is, I will go in here and I type IDLE, and it will gives me that I do have a Python IDLE 3.11, so I'm happy about that. And when I click on that, this is what I get. This is my Python integrated development environment shell, and it gives me several things that I can do with it. So let's start with a little new file, and in this file we are going to write down our first set of instructions. Okay, so first I'm going to type is it what pound symbol represent is a comment. What is a comment in a programming language? A comment is something that we do not want to be processed. This is for our reference, like it is like, okay, leave it alone, this is not an instruction. So anything proceeding, anything after the pound symbol means that you don't have to kind of pay attention to it for the compiler or interpreter of the language. So what are we going to do is that in this little program we are going to print. So we will say print. Now what is a print? Means print is a keyword for the interpreter of Python. What is an interpreter? As we write a single line of code, it takes that line of code and kind of take it as an instruction and instruct the computer to do the task. In Python it is done one line at a time. So I say print. Now this should be, the print statement should be enclosed in a whatever you want to print must be enclosed inside this, right, and inside the parentheses. And what should be put in there could be a set of values and our quotations. So let me make the font a little bigger and I will come back after that. So if you have to make the font bigger, what you can do is go to the options and configure IDLE, and then I'm at the fonts. So a font is okay with me, but the size I'm a little worried. I'm going to make it a little bigger, and then you cannot see at the bottom, but there is an OK button, and which makes my font bigger. So I think it's a little easier for everybody to see and kind of make sense of it. I can make it even a little bigger if I want to. So let me make it a little bigger even. so it's visible better. So in there, what I want to do is I want to say hello world. Now, as you can see, this thing, I want this thing to be literally printed as it is, right? As it is on the screen. That is why I put in the quotation. I say don't make any change in it, but just print that as it is on the screen when you run this program. So that is going to be a very simple program, and it doesn't have much in there. We did a very simple program. So how do we, first of all, this is not a Python program yet. It is an untitled document. No one pay any attention to it. So first we will have to save this. You can click the run in the run module, or you can press F5. If you do that, it says, okay, you haven't saved it. Are you going to save? Yes. But when we do that, it will ask us, where do you want to save it? So what I have done is I have in my C drive, I have made a folder in my C drive slash, I have a folder which I call the Python programs. So you can make your own folder, and I'm going to call it test2, and make sure here the Python files are selected and no other type of files are selected in here. So you save that, and it has done its job, and it has printed hello world, and we are good and happy, and it says this is where it runs and this is what it has in there. So we are good, right? This is a good, and there I'm going to close that. Now I want to make it a little bit further, and I want to include my name. So I say there is a variable which is called named, and this is Professor A. Okay, and I want to print this greeting, and I say hello world from, and I want to include my message after all. So I will format this as I want it. Now I want to bring this variable that holds this value. So we will use a comma. That means I'm going to add more to this information, and that information is coming from this variable. So variable is a place is a place in the memory location of computer which holds a value. So here what I have done is I have used this variable to hold this information that can be changed if you want to enter something else. Okay, so let's run this program, and we will have to say run module since it has changed. So it says that do you want to save it? This time it will not ask us for a name or anything, but it says, if you can see that, it says hello world from Professor A. So if you look at that, here I have here, if you look at it, I have the variable name, comma, connects different pieces of information, and it has connected hello world from with the variable value of name, right? So let's move a little bit further and write, let's say I don't want it to be a fixed thing. I want the user to enter the value. So in that case, I will say input. Input is a command for from the program to the system. Input, please enter your name. Now this will expect the user to enter their name, and then whatever they will enter will be stored in this value, and when this commands execute, it will take the name and execute that, right? So let's run this program. So if you come in here, you can see that it is asking me for please enter your name, and let's say in this case let's say my name is Mandy and I'm just a different person, and it says hello world from Mandy. Let's run it again. Let's do it again. So if we want to run it again, let's go again and run it again, and this time I'm going to say a different name. Let's say my name is David. Says hello world from David. So what we have done is we have instructed the computer to work as we want to do it. Now let's say the first letter, how do we make a smiley face for our computer, right? So what do we have to do is first let's go and draw out a smiley face and see how does that look like, and then instruct our computer to draw that smiley face. Okay, so let's first plan it. You can do it on paper. I will do it on my writing whiteboard and see how that goes. So I have coming in here, so let's draw something on my whiteboard, and I say So I say I have hold on. So I have this x, another x, right? So in one line I'm going to make right, and then I have this and this, right? So I have to keep in mind, so this could be my one print statement, this could be my other print statement, right? And another one, and I will come back and put the things inside. That's why I'm doing it. And then this is the end of my smiley face, because right now my smiley face has eyes. So on the third line I'm going to make two, kind of like I'm going to put two O's, right, at the location of the first and the third, thing. And we can fix it if we don't like it. And in the fourth line I'm going to make, well, it's not much of a smiley face, it's just a simple face. I will just put two dashes, right? So let's see whether we can make that up or not, and we can modify in there later on. So remember how many print statement we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And we have to write them accordingly. So we will pull it on this side and we will bring up our Python IDLE, and let's write a different file. So we'll say a new file, and this new file we will name it later on. But what we will do is we will we will design this file using our OneNote. So let's start our program. It's always a good idea to put a comment and write down your name. Again, it would not affect your program, but always write down, and it's a good idea always to put date and some details about project that you are doing. So let's do the first print statement, and in that I have to make 1, 2, 3, 4 axes. Okay, I did make them. In the second statement, it just kind of helped me out. What I should do is, which is actually bothering me, in here I want to enter okay, so these have to have any space and some space here, because at the top there is a space, so then there is a space, right? And in our second line we will have our x here. Oh, sorry, I have to put them in quotation, right? X, and then space, 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 and there is an x, right? And then in the third line I have the same thing, except that I have eyes in the middle. So what we can do is I will take Control C, I will select this line, and I'll put Control V, so I don't have to type that in. And inside that I'm going to make two eyes. Now that messed up, so let's increase that size of our, because we did draw it on paper but doesn't look right. And on the top just increase a little bit more, so a little bit more. So these are his eyes, right? And then so here we drew it, but we make some changes because it looks ugly in here. So at this one I will go Control C, and I will say Control V, and this one is not as then I'm going to make another one. Well, there are going to be more lines in here than there, but again on when we design, and this would be his face and his mouth. And then what we can do is we can finish up by using this line. So what we draw on paper sometimes might be just an indication of what we want to do, and what we do it in here we can adjust in there. So let's come in here and run this file. When I run it, it will ask me, do I want to store it? Yes, because it doesn't have a previous one. So I will say task 3, and here we go. And as you can see, I have this thing being drawn on the screen. So you can draw any pictures using the print statements. Now we will do a video again tomorrow for my next video. I might do it later today as well. My next video I will teach you how we can take numbers and how we can manipulate them. But before we do that, we have to learn what are variables and how are they used. Okay. Now if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, and then also leave comment of what type of topics would you be more interested in.